Hello everybody and welcome back to another Overwatch League Top 10 video. As we head into the Overwatch League's 5th season and the first season being played on Overwatch 2, I wanted to take some time to look ahead to the future and talk about some of the rookies that I am most excited for in 2022. The rules for this list are very simple. Every player eligible for this list must be a true rookie, meaning they have never been on an Overwatch League roster prior to the 2022 season. All rookies are eligible for the list, and of course, as always, I would love to hear your opinions on my list in the comments down below. And if there's a player that I didn't mention that you are personally excited for, let me know as well in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's jump into my list, starting with number 10, Chorong. One of the only two main supports on my list, Chorong kicks off this list as arguably the top main support player coming out of Korean contenders this year. Having spent roughly 2 years on Talent Esports, Chorong comes from one of the most dominant teams in Korean contenders over the past few years, and now comes into the Overwatch League as a member of the Toronto Defiant, playing alongside Twilight. This backline has the makings to be one of the most exciting in the entire league, with Chorong likely playing a major role as one of the only two supports on this roster. Main support is not a role that usually drums up a lot of hype in the offseason, so while Chorong certainly looks to be a star in the making for this Defiant squad, and was one of the most hyped players in the league coming into it, especially on that support role, my excitement for his signing is not as high as the rest of the players on this list, and that is why he is here at number 10. Number 9, Ultraviolet. The only flex support player on this list, Ultraviolet, comes from the famed American Tornado roster that dominated NA contenders in 2020 and 2021 before eventually disbanding, leading Ultraviolet and some other fellow American Tornado teammates to Redbird Esports, where they continued to find success. Ultraviolet is one of the most exciting American rookies to join OWL in a long time, and he is easily one of the best American flex supports to ever reach the Overwatch League. Now, as a member of the Atlanta Reign, Ultraviolet is a player to keep your eyes on, as Atlanta's predominantly American core are going to see if they can find the same success that the Atlanta Reign found last season, making it all the way to the Grand Finals. Definitely not the most exciting player, though, for me. Excited to see him play, excited to see him pop off, but there are just some players who I just feel a little bit more excited about, which is why Ultraviolet finds himself here at number 9. Number 8. Stalker. 2022 is expected to be a massive season for DPS players with Overwatch 2's move to one tank, and Stalker is the first of many DPS players that will appear on this list. Stalker spent the past 4 years as a member of Gen G, Seoul Dynasty's academy team, and is now going to be a part of Seoul Dynasty and their stacked DPS rotation that already consists of Prophet and Fitz. Much like Prophet, Stalker is a hyperflex player, able to play both projectile and hitscan DPS heroes at a high level. This makes Stalker a player that everyone should certainly get excited for. However, the relative lack of success for Gen G over the past couple of years, and the likelihood that Stalker plays third fiddle to the Prophet's duo, has me less excited for him than some of the other DPS talent joining the league in 2022, and lands him here at the number 8 spot. Number 7, MN3. Up next, we have another DPS talent, MN3, formerly of T1, and now a member of the Philadelphia Fusion. MN3 is one of the most exciting DPS players joining OWL in 2022. As one of the top DPS players in Korean contenders in 2022, MN3 will likely be one of the Fusion's go-to stars this season. Where MN3 suffers for me personally is the fact that MN3 and Carpe have very similar hero pools, which means MN3 will likely be splitting time with Carpe, or possibly sitting behind him. Maybe MN3's arrival on the Fusion signals the end of Carpe's reign as king of the Fusion, or maybe Carpe remains the Fusion's go-to superstar with MN3 playing second fiddle. Who knows? It's too early to tell, but regardless, MN3 is still an incredible talent who will have a major impact this year, and is certainly one of the players to keep your eyes on. Number 6, Aprita. The lone Chinese player on this list, Aprita joins the Chengdu Hunters after spending time on their academy team, Team Chaser. As a player known mostly for his hitscan play, Aprita brings a lot of firepower to an already stacked Chengdu DPS line that struggled at times last season in hitscan heavy metas. Now, with Aprita on this roster, the Hunters are likely to be even more dangerous than they were last season, with Leave and Aprita creating one of the scariest DPS duos in the entire league. The only thing that truly keeps Aprita from a higher spot on this list is my own personal lack of history with Aprita and his time in contenders. I don't personally follow Chinese contenders that closely, so this really just comes down to me not knowing him super well as a player. But from what I have seen, he is easily one of the most talented players joining the league this season, and could be the piece that the Hunters have been missing to truly get them to the next level. Number 5, Hydrant. Another player coming from American Tornado, Hydrant is one of the most exciting DPS players to come out of NA over the past several years. Known for his dominant hitscan performances, Hydrant is likely going to be the star for this new look Florida Mayhem roster, and has the potential to be one of the best hitscan players in the Western region. I expect people to compare him to Aspire, who Hydrant played with on American Tornado, due to their common history and common hero pools, but as someone who believes that Hydrant is a better player than Aspire, and a little more talented, I think Owl fans are in for a treat when Hydrant finally hits the stage next month. If you are a fan of NA, and want to see more NA players pop off at the highest level, then Hydrant is certainly one player you should be excited for in 2022. Number 4, Kellen. This selection is definitely a biased one for me, as Kellen is currently the only rookie on the new look New York Excelsior roster, as well as the only tank player on this list. With tank being such a new look role, it's a little difficult, in my opinion, to be excited for tank players right now, because I don't really know what to expect. But Kellen, for me, is that exception because he's one of my boys. Over the past 2 years, Kellen has spent time on both Talent Esports and Element Mystic, two of the best teams in Korean contenders. As the only tank player currently on the NYXL roster, Kellen will no doubt play a major role in the NYXL's game plan for the 2022 season, and his time in Korean contenders shows that he is up to the task to be an elite level main tank in the Overwatch League. He does not come into 2022 with the most intrigue or glamour, which is why he does not find himself with a higher spot on this list, but he is certainly going to be one of the most interesting pieces for the NYXL this season, and therefore a player that I am incredibly excited about. Number 3, Pontifan. If you want to talk about a player whose story is full of intrigue, look no further than Pontifan of the Los Angeles Gladiators. When it comes to Overwatch, Pontifan is best known for his dominating performances for Team Thailand in the 2018 World Cup qualifiers, and as a member of Talent Esports prior to their move to Contenders Korea. Despite his dominance in Overwatch in 2018 and 2019, Pontifan retired from Overwatch in 2020 to pursue a career in Valorant, where he found success as a member of X10 Esports. After competing at Valorant Masters in 2021, Pontifan announced his retirement from Valorant and his return to Overwatch as a member of the Los Angeles Gladiators. What we now know is that Pontifan never really found that same love for Valorant that he did for Overwatch, and it was really just a matter of him waiting until he was of age to return to the game that he really, truly loved. Another DPS player with an incredibly versatile hero pool, Pontifan is going to be one of the most important parts of a Gladiators roster that appears to be one of NA's top teams. And with the story as intriguing as Pontifan's, it is no surprise that he not only made the list, but made it as one of the 3 most exciting rookies going into 2022. Number 2, Proper. When we talk about rookie DPS players in 2022, no one holds a candle to Proper. Having spent the last 3 years with O2 Blast, Proper was far and away the best DPS player in Korean contenders this past year, and he is already drawing comparisons to some of Overwatch's all-time greatest players, such as Prophet and Fleta, when people talk about how skilled he is. He's another Hyperflex player like Stalker or Pontifan, yet stands on a planet of his own in terms of the level of dominance he has brought over the past few years. Now, as a member of the San Francisco Shock, Proper joins a team with a massive legacy of success at the highest level, taking a player who could walk away as one of Overwatch's greatest players of all time, and putting him on the team that most people would argue is currently the greatest Overwatch team of all time, is one of Owl's most interesting and exciting storylines for 2022, and is why Proper is here at the number 2 spot. And finally, at number 1, I have OG. OG is another player coming from American Tornado, but what makes OG stand out from the other former American Tornado players is that he has been a dominant player since he was 15 years old. As arguably the best American main support player in Overwatch history, OG has some big shoes to fill as a member of the Atlanta Reign, but I don't think that will be a problem for him. At one point in time, OG was looked at as possibly the greatest American player in Overwatch, but one who was just too young to play in the Overwatch League until now. No other player in the history of the Overwatch League has had me counting down the days until he was eligible to compete in the Overwatch League like OG has, so it is easy to see why he is the rookie that I am most excited for in 2022. He brings a lot of intrigue, a lot of firepower to that support line for the Atlanta Reign, and I am very excited for him to finally make it into the Overwatch League. That concludes my list of the top 10 most exciting rookies for 2022. Let me know your thoughts on the list in the comments down below, and let me know what you would change on your own list, people you would get rid of, people you would add. Would love to hear that from you in the comments down below. Remember, as always, if you enjoyed this video and want more like it in the future, consider liking and subscribing, as it does help out the channel. Obviously, we're getting closer to the Overwatch League season kicking off, so we're going to have a lot more content once the season does kick off, so stay tuned for all of that. But that is all from me for today. Hope you're all staying safe and staying healthy, and until next time, bye-bye.